Welcome, welcome. This is our April 30th meeting of the Council on Aging Board. And we're doing it, however you say, bifurcated. We're doing it both ways.
Hybrid. Hybrid.
Hybrid. Yes. Is Brid a new member?
Brid is a new member, duly elected.
All right. Welcome, Brid. So I will call the roll. Here, roll. No, roll's not coming. Karen Schultz.
Here.
Lori Fairbay. That's surprising. I bet she forgot. Linda Robinson.
Here.
Kate Bliss.
Here.
You are? Where are you hiding?
Phone. She's on the phone.
Ah. Pat Wheeler.
No, Pat.
Bob Blair here. Do we leave anyone out? Anyone like to join that we haven't seen hiding in the wings? No. Good. Let's get right to the agenda. Does anyone have any additions, subtractions, comments on the minutes of our previous meeting?
Nope. No.
So we would vote to approve it. Karen Schultz,
Aye.
Linda Robinson,
Aye.
Kate Bliss,
Aye.
Bob Blair, aye. It is done. Fiscal updates, Ms.
Okay.
Victoria.
All right, this is since last meeting. Donations are $156. We also did get a donation from Golden Skep for the powder house.
In addition to that?
Yes, it's separate. It's another, I think it was another $100. Wages,
Nice.
part-time wages were $4.99.81. My wages were $3,306.25, and expenses were $1,028.44. The overwhelming majority of that is Mock had their annual donation of $400, and almost
How many hundred?
400,
400.
and just shy of 300 of it was postage for Powder House.
And that's one addition.
That's one addition.
Hmm.
The,
Are they having his hand? Never mind, we'll get to that later. Any questions on fiscal update information? All right, Tai Chi yoga and van updates.
So Tai Chi has resumed. We started classes with Reverend Helen on the 16th. It has been going well. We are at similar numbers for Tai Chi that we had with our previous instructor. We've had some people who've chosen not to come back, but overwhelming majority have, and we've actually gotten some new members in. And as a whole, right now, all the feedback has been positive.
So
And how much, what is our total number?
We are we're hovering between like 6 and 8.
That would be 7.
But well, it depends very on class.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And yoga?
Yoga is still status quo for yoga classes. Sail, what Sharon is going to do is that the sail class is like a strength and conditioning class. And we've had a couple people come, but what she wants to do is she's going to work on recording a small video for us so we can post it on YouTube and we can get it to cable access. Because I think people don't understand fully what it is. And once people kind of get to know about it more, I think the numbers will go up because it's something that's been popular like with other communities. I just think it's like one of those things where they're like, oh, it's a strength class, whatever that means. And they're not quite fully sure what it is. So, so that's what she's working on. So we have been talking about it and she's going to record like a 30 to 60 second video of what is sail, why it's important, who's it for, and we'll get that out.
I think we should try serving green tea and tofu would probably get even more people coming.
Or less.
Or less.
Or less. Me less.
Just,
How many yoga did you say were coming to yoga?
we're probably between like 8 and 10.
Okay.
But But we also get people like who are virtual as well. So like that's usually.
Oh,
the 2
plus
to 3.
virtual.
Yeah,
So that's in person.
yeah. So, and then we get like another like 2 to 3 virtual.
Okay.
Well, that's
So-
getting the numbers up. That's a good thing.
Yep.
How, age-wise, who tends to participate?
I would say most people are probably in their 70s.
Oh, age is what he asked. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, most of the people I would say in the class, I would say like average age is probably around 70.
Male, female?
Mostly female. We do have a couple males, but mostly female.
Hmm. Have
And
we ever tried outreach other than being in the Powderhouse News?
well, interestingly enough, we actually through word of mouth are getting people in who are not Berlin residents, which is good news. And they're enjoying it. And so Sharon alone, like our yoga email list, I think is around 40 people. So
Huh.
it
So that gets directly emailed.
email to them, yeah.
Okay.
So it's
To like seniors in town.
so as a whole, I would say, I think word of mouth has been our big thing too, because we've had a lot of people ask like, hey, I heard about this through so-and-so, what do you think? And I'm like, please come to a class and let us know. Our instructors are really accommodating and people don't have to be, I think a lot of people get very fearful if they've got some health issues or if they're not very mobile.
Right.
Both Sharon and Reverend Helen are very good about sit down, you do what you can, we can modify, no big deal.
And are both Tai Chi and yoga classes at or sessions at,
You're here.
right there? Okay.
Yep, you're here.
And is the subscription to the yoga classes taxing the space available?
No,
Not yet.
no.
Okay. Good.
Just generally too, so in terms of the van, our main driver, he is gonna be out on medical leave. He's gonna be out for 4 weeks, starting now.
Starting today.
Yeah, he needed to go out on medical leave. However, potential good news, I have an interview tomorrow with a potential driver to try to get that second position filled. So,
He's out for 4 weeks.
yeah,
So do we have, I think we should also have on call somebody who is available for fill-ins, because if somebody gets sick for a couple of days,
right.
it's too bad to have the van sit idle.
Well, and that's the thing with per diem is that, I mean, ideally, I would love to have a per diem driver. Most people who are per diem in one town are usually scheduled with another. So
Yeah.
that tends to be the issue, but I mean, at this point, I think if we can get back to 2 drivers filled, and at least then if we know ahead of time, okay, this person needs to be out, we can at least say, okay, fine, while this other person is still covering, here are the days and times that we do have available and vice versa.
Yeah, I think we're still quite underutilizing the van, and so having any kind of gap in services is not optimum by any means.
Are
Do we
we
have
at
any-
the top of our budget for
No.
the part-time and full-time drivers? So there would be extra
Mm.
funds for a per diem driver or?
There's no full-time drivers. So at this point, like we are budgeted total for 27 hours a week of driver.
Mhm.
So that's split between 2 people. So that's about 14 hours. What we would do is per diem really is just that, like if we needed them on, they would just be kind of on call.
Right. But I mean, I'm assuming, do we guarantee the 27 hours to those 2 drivers?
Yeah.
It's only when they work.
Yeah, we keep,
Okay,
and that's,
so
and
then
that's a
it wouldn't
massive,
matter.
and unfortunately, that's just, every town has that problem.
I'm sure.
It's unfortunately not something that's Berlin specific. It's just at the state level, like that's what they tell us.
Yeah.
We can't pay people to be on retainer. We just can't.
What's the breakdown in services?
It's, I
Medical
would say,
appointments?
I would say it's probably 85-15 medical appointments.
So when you have a medical appointment, you have the whole van tied up for that one appointment?
Potentially, if we don't have any other rides, yeah.
That's interesting, because Clinton, I think, just got a grant via which they can have I'm not sure what it's called, but they can have I don't know if it's a WRTA or not, but they can dispatch a vehicle to take somebody to a medical appointment, which frees the van up for all kinds of other things. It seems
Social
to me
stuff.
we keep, sorry?
Yeah, for social stuff too, which would be nice.
Yeah, it's just, it seems like we're kind of hamstrung with the van for medical appointments. I got a van that holds 10 people, but it's tied up every time it's a medical appointment, 75% of the time. And it seems like there should be a better option, which apparently Clinton has tied into, and I can certainly ask the WRTA. I understand that the town administrator checked with the WRTA about having a vehicle available to take someone who had Down syndrome for some sort of rides, and I didn't hear anything about it. And I'm the town's rep to the WRTA, so that would have been good.
As
But
of right now, like I said, as of right now, I can certainly reach out to Deb Goodell and see what it is that Clinton has gotten for the WRTA. Like, unfortunately, with every other town around us, I would say Boylston's maybe the exception. They still have multiple drivers and multiple buses or vans going at the same time, regardless. And the only thing that I would worry about, like, if the WRTA is willing to help out Berlin, I'm fine with it. But from everything that I'm hearing, it's still not gonna give us a driver. It's maybe gonna give us a van with maybe like a stipend. And that, though great, doesn't solve our problem, because if we don't have people on staff.
yeah, but this sounds like
I
a
know, that's
vehicle
why
with
I'm
a
gonna talk to
driver that
Deb
is taking
about it.
somebody on a medical appointment, which then frees the van up.
I get it. Like I said, I will reach out to Deb and I'll see what it is that she got and see, if at all we can apply for it.
Well, also in speaking with others in the WRTA advisory board, I think it's possible. Yeah, the board chair and the director of the WRTA said they are very open at some point in the near future to come to Berlin and sit down and talk with all the interested parties about what sorts of services they may be able to help us with, because they provide none at the present.
Mhm.
We're one of a few towns in their area, which is extensive,
Mhm.
that doesn't have any direct services, but I definitely, if they're out there, I definitely want them coming to Berlin as well.
Absolutely.
So I'll speak with the town administrator about her availability and you about your availability, and see what time we can get together with WRTA that actually come out, chat with us about what's needed.
Okay. Just to do a follow-up from last month as well, I just wanted to let you guys know, I did reach out to JR's undercoating in Sterling. We do
Yeah.
have a tentative appointment booked in July. What we have to do though is we're gonna have because of the size of the van, they have to do everything outdoors because the van is just too big for their lift. So what they do is that they call basically 24 to 48 hours ahead of the appointment, just to confirm that there's no weather issues.
Yep.
If there is a weather issue, they'll just reschedule us. So we are on the books to have it done during the summer.
Good. That'll
Can
make it last
I
a little longer.
I think I asked this, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the answer. But I think I remember there's no maintenance budget, right? So, so we do oil changes and get tires and get brakes and everything that's needed on the van. How do we pay for that? Does the
It comes out
town-
of the expense, it comes out of our expenses, and if we really needed to, we could take it out of the formula grant.
Okay.
And we're at the point now where whatever warranty we had with the vehicle when it was
Gone.
provided to us as Gonzo,
Yeah, it expired last year.
do you have I'm sure there are figures to say what our annual maintenance costs have been to date.
Thankfully, since our last big service with Acton Ford last year, we've only had to go in for just oil changes. We have not had any big issues in the last year. They really did negate the problem, because we've not had, we've had every single time the drivers are doing reports and they're not having anything. We had one time where I think the check engine light came on, but it was just for an oil change. And as soon as they did the change, it went away. and we got it
Yeah.
done this week. So we thankfully have not had any issues. And this year I would say between the inspection and like the oil changes were maybe gonna be about $300. Which is nothing
Hmm.
Which is nothing.
compared to where we were before.
Yeah,
When the van was
yeah.
constantly at.
Yeah.
Ford.
We had some sort of roof leak. Is that all squared away?
That one, yes, that has been fine. We've had no issues, because, we were able to get that sealed, up with, we drove it up to New Hampshire with the Mobility Works. They were able to seal it and we've had no issues about it since.
That's
Right.
bizarre that new vehicle would have roof leaks. It sounded like maybe it was,
I think it was one of the
given to us.
modifications. I think because the fact too that this van was modified to be a COA type van, I think it was maybe one of the modifications that, like, again, like just that little bit of sealant
Huh.
broke off, and that's what,
Do we have a lift on the van?
yes.
All right. You said van service changes for May. Did we
It was
just
just
go
about the driver, it was about the driver, yeah.
driver? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I'm really hot to get that van just available for things other than medical appointments and the rare occasion over to get groceries or whatever. Are there any?
Groceries are also weekly. I mean, we do have people who weekly ask for grocery runs. It's just like I said, the vast majority of the time that they are medical appointments.
Are they from all over town or from something like Northbrook 1 and 2?
We have a smattering.
And do we take more than one person on these runs?
If it's grocery, we can. If it's, and then the thing is too, is that like, just because we have medical runs, if we can piggyback or double team or stuff like that, we do it. So especially like if we have appointments in like a neighboring town, we may drop a person off for an appointment, come back, grab somebody for groceries, take them, get them situated, go back for that medical appointment. So it's really only when we are going to be at an appointment that is a distance away. That's really when we can't necessarily be as flexible. And by distance, I mean like Worcester or Concord or
Yeah.
like Leominster or Westford or something like that. Like when we're up like in that far away, that's really the only time. But I mean, I would say that, and I would say, like the only really big distance runs that we take really are to Worcester. I mean, we have the occasional Concord, we have the occasional like Westford, Leominster area. But I mean, a lot of the medical appointments, if they're not in Worcester, they're in a neighboring town. So if we can accommodate and we can take multiple people, we'll do it.
They, do those runs include waiting for the person to get through with the appointment and then taking them back?
If we've got nothing else scheduled, yes. But like I said, if we can maximize a run, we will do it.
Yeah. Yeah, typically those, well, depends on what they're at the medical appointment for. They can go anywhere from half an hour quickie checkup to 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Okay. Dig It All literacy classes.
Yep. So the interim report was submitted yesterday, so that is all set. Our final report is due in March. The classes for May and June, what we're going to do is we're going to have just 2 classes each per month throughout the summer because we figure people are going to be like in and out of vacation at times. So we're going to have, we have basically like a testing skills where basically if anybody has any particular questions, they can come and just ask them. It's very unstructured, but it seems to be very helpful. So we're going to have one of those classes each month. And then for May and June, we're going to have like special topics. So the first class in May, we're going to focus in on, talking about like the difference of like different technological devices. So like a phone versus laptop versus tablet versus like smart speaker versus smartwatch, all that stuff, and kind of the pros and cons of each. Not that necessarily everybody's going to have it, but just in case people are interested, they'll know a little bit of each. And then the focus of the class in June is going to be talking about Apple versus like Android and Windows, because we've had a lot of people who have both types of device and they're not like, both are not like, if you have both of them, people tend to have a preference of one over the other. And, for those who have both devices, sometimes they are expecting the exact same thing for both devices and it's not quite the same. So that's what we're gonna do.
Okey. Item 5 is grab and go. That's coming up this,
It
Coming month?
is, yep, it's gonna be on the 23rd of May.
what
We-
day of the week?
It's a Thursday. They didn't have any Wednesday availability when we could do
Oh,
it.
it says it right here, Thursday, 5/23, yeah.
So yep, menu's finalized. What we'll do is starting next week, we'll get all the menus and stuff like that out. We'll have the cutoff be the Friday before, which I think is the 17th. And for orders, and then
When's the deadline? I'm sorry.
it's that Friday before,
Okay.
I think it's the 17th.
It
So,
is, yep.
17th says here, yeah.
So that's,
So we'll just-
that's the deadline.
so we'll just do that.
Mm.
Oh, here comes Lori, guys.
Oh.
So yeah, so we will have that be all set and,
So on the 23rd, I'll just show up there and you'll
Yeah.
tell me what to do.
yeah, so I will confirm time. I usually confirm time with the chef du jour, usually about a week out.
Okay.
Usually what we try to do is we try to start doing like packing, so meals can start going out around 4:30. So usually like 3:45-ish would probably be good just to, because we pack everything here and then we've kind of honed the system after a little while.
Well, we've
Now
got it
It's
down.
down now.
I'm sure, yeah. I'll just do whatever you tell
Yeah.
me.
It's fine.
I should
But
be
yeah,
good.
and I can be there whenever you tell me to be there, so.
Perfect. Sounds good. Hey, Lori. So, yeah.
Welcome, Lori.
She's on mute.
It's okay. So, yeah.
Item 6 is Powder House News.
Okay.
Yep, so the Powder House, just to let you guys know, Powder Houses were dropped off today to the post office for mailing. So they should be going out in the next day or so. We did have the printed copies, got those today, so we have the extras here at Town Hall. And then the online version has already been dispersed out.
I got mine.
Good
I
job.
got mine too. I
Yeah.
was very excited.
I was too, I know.
So yeah,
And when is it all changing?
it's September,
Oh, September, okay.
yes.
So there'll be one more,
It's gonna be monthly as opposed to bi-monthly. And it's gonna
So-
be, so it's gonna be a smaller, more condensed, but more frequent. So-
but there'll be one more that we are responsible, for, right?
Yeah, at the
Okay.
end.
And can I meant to ask you this, so I know we're
Yeah.
paying all this money extra for them, for someone to put labels on or something, is that right?
Mhm.
How much of a job is that? Like, can I just sit here and put labels on?
We were
Well,
doing it. We
no,
used.
no,
to-
no, 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 no,
No?
these are worse. These ones are worse.
Oh,
So these labels are basically, so every single powder house that goes out now has a barcode. That is what is being put on them. So it's 740 barcodes.
Okay,
And and the thing is that like we tried printing them out here at the town offices, but it takes one printer 2 hours. And they can do it there because they have the industrial printers, they can do it in half an hour.
okay.
So,
Did the post office ever explain why this change had to be?
they're pushing a more automated system and that's pretty much all that we were told, was that the way that we were doing it is no longer going to be accepted.
It was pretty damn automated when the printer did everything, including the label, and it just went to the post office. I don't know what on earth they think is more automated than sticking labels on. That's ridiculous.
No comment.
Yeah. So so this is cast in stone now. We're going to this monthly thing.
So as of right now, for that project, it has been, I believe, funded for 1 year as a beta test.
Okay, I would say, to put it mildly, not happy with that.
monthly
Mhm.
by the. 10th.
And I'm curious, have a lot of questions about what the new thing is gonna look like. Is
So
it just
instead
gonna
of-
be a listing of events and who's putting it together, and are there any articles, and who's
So-
included and not included?
So the thought is that one of the big things that came out of the UMass study was that people feel like there's no communication in town. And that there's no centralized way to get it. So this is to try to address that concern. So the thought is by having a monthly newsletter, you're gonna hear from every department monthly, so you'll know more what's going on in town.
So this is basically a publication that simply lists comments from all of the departments and the town administrator.
Well, it's more so too of like what's going on, like, people don't necessarily always know about like board, like meetings. People may not necessarily know what each department does. People may have just, I guess, just general comments and questions. So that's kind of the thought, was to bridge that gap.
And people have to opt in if they want this in print form.
Yeah, if they want it mailed.
Print form.
That's good, because it is a senior group and there's a lot of seniors who don't do technology. And if we went to a system where the only way you got it was through technology, that's out to lunch, because that cuts a whole bunch of people out that we're supposedly serving.
They are still planning on printing newsletters monthly through Clinton Offset. It's just seeing, can we fine tune the number that needs to be printed and try to cut down on the cost of mailing.
So when you start out, do you start out figuring everybody is going to get the electronic version, or do you start out minus those who have specifically opted into a printed copy? Or do you start out with the assumption everyone gets a printed copy unless they opt out and can do a?
The assumption is going to be that people are going to do a digital copy they're having a finite number printed as well. But if people need to have it printed and mailed, that's why you're asking for them to opt in.
Anybody have any thoughts on that? Which is the more effective way, opt in or opt out?
I think opt-in is better, honestly, because I think there's probably a surprising number of seniors who get email but wouldn't necessarily take the time or the initiative to opt out. And so I think by opting in, there's still every opportunity for them to get it the way they need it. But there's not a lot of waste. I think there's a lot of waste in the way we're doing it now.
And it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Is this something where you do a telephone survey to see if people wanted to be in or out on this?
So we posted it in the latest Powder House that they have to contact us if they want to be in. And we'll have it in the July-August issue as well.
Okay.
And I thought that was pretty easy, that it's not like they have to do anything technical to opt in. They can just call you and say, please mail
Call
me
or
one,
email.
right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are we still going to be able to put in some of our articles and stuff that we've been doing all along?
I think that is going to be a Kristen question, because I don't know. They're going to have to figure out like how much of space is going to be available for each thing. Now, the thing too is that like Council on Aging Social Services will be able to contribute as well. So if we're having a slow month, that may be the substitute of what gets going in anyway.
Okay.
How about so this is just for town entities, so let's say 19 Carter, their calendar doesn't get in this because it's not a town entity.
As of right now, the focus is the town entities, yes. Boards,
Okay,
committees.
so there's a whole bunch of information that they won't see. And well, that would also apply to Neshoba neighbors, because they're not a town entity. So there's some information that doesn't go in. And let's say Berlin Seniors, that's not a town entity. The Lions Club is not a town entity. The American Legion is not a town entity. None of those things get into this publication.
The thing is though, too, Bob, is that just because they're not necessarily a town entity, like, Lions, like if the veterans wanted to post something in on their behalf, they possibly could do that. I'm not sitting here and I'm not saying that this stuff will never be in there ever again. I think the reality is that, we want to try to streamline this and make sure that, yes, we want to make sure that everybody's getting as much information as we can. And yes, I understand that some stuff may have to not necessarily be in every single issue, but it may be more balanced in the long run, because again, like things are going to be going out monthly. So just because like we may not have something going out this month doesn't mean that like in the next month's issue, we still won't have something going out. There's going to be more publications, so there may still be just the same amount of opportunity for stuff to get in.
Okay, now, other question obviously is who's putting it together? who sort of,
Kristen's figuring that out. She's taking over it, so I can't control that.
hey, Lori, we get a holiday. Okay, well, it's not where I would have gone. That's for darn sure. I think we're also gonna lose any interest material like focusing on seniors or focusing on things we do in the 5Ws and things we do in the people of note.
Not
Uh,
necessarily, because that could still go under historical, or it could still go under COA. It doesn't have to, just because the paper format's changing doesn't mean that stuff is just kissed goodbye. You're
Well, it
still,
certainly sounded that way, and I'll give you a parallel example. And that is that the town has a message board at Pleasant Street and Central. And that message board used to be able to put stuff up. The Lions are gonna have the gazornage plots on this a day. Nope, can't do it anymore because you're not a town entity. So if that same thought applies to this publication, sayonara to those organizations because they're not a town entity.
Yeah, I was at the
yeah, I don't know.
coffee
either.
house. the
Well,
other
so
night, at
here's the
Coffee
thing.
Talks.
Here's what I would say is that, I mean, I've also heard the opposite argument. Why are all these nonprofits in the Powder House when they're not town entities and the town is paying for this? So that's the opposite argument. So I'm not sitting here and I'm not saying that things should or should not be in there, or it will never be in there again. I think at this point, there's an unmet need that people feel like they don't know what's going on in the town. They feel like there's no centralized way to get it. Like you mentioned before, Facebook posts are great, but they're not necessarily reflective of what's going on longer term. So, and like I said, this is a beta test. It's 1 year to see if
Okay.
it's something to continue.
Well, to answer your question, I can tell you exactly why the nonprofit should be in there is because, like the COA and like other town bodies, they serve the interests of seniors. How are seniors helped when those other organizations, 19 Carter and the Show of the Neighbors, Lions Club, blah, 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 all who have programs that serve seniors are not part of the umbrella group?
And that's fine. I get the
No,
fact.
it
that
isn't
they serve
fine.
as
That's what
seniors.
I'm saying. I'm saying it is not fine. What is happening is you're cutting out information about groups. It's like we have, we're the town and you guys do your thing. It should be, we're all organizations that serve the needs of seniors. How was this service improved? We say, okay, you guys buzz off and we're going to have just town stuff.
Okay, but again, like, I hear your frustration, but I think at the same point too, this publication is put in by tax dollars. Like, and again, the focus has to be what is going on in the municipal side. I'm not sitting here and I'm not saying everything else is gonna get cut by the wayside. That's not what I'm saying at all, is I'm saying that this is a 1-year beta test to try to incorporate more of the departments, boards, committees of what is going on. And that they're gonna reflect back and see, okay, are these changes worth it or not?
Did somebody tell me that they've tried this in the past and it just didn't pan out?
Yeah, it's happened quite a few times in the past.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've tried a town newsletter and never worked.
It's 1 year.
Maybe, again, I'm naive in all of this.
No, because that's the thing.
Sorry.
So Kate's question was, has it happened since the town administrator? And the answer is no, because the first town administrator came 5 years ago.
Right, no, we've never done
And
that.
it hasn't. And that's the thing too, like, that's a valid point that Kate made, is that like having, a select board, having Dee in with the select board plus Kristen, that may make things a little bit more centralized that way too.
Lori, when was the last time? Do you remember the last time
I
they
don't
tried?
remember, but it's been a number of times it's been attempted in town. I've been in town a long time.
It's gotta be.
Could we, I don't know how many announcements as a COA we have, a grab and go or whatever, but I'm assuming as a town entity, we have space allotted in this publication.
Yes.
Is there anything that says that if it's senior related, we couldn't use our space? If the Lions Club has something for seniors,
Well, I think
we-
that's what
put it in,
Victoria
right?
is saying. I think that's what Victoria is saying.
Yeah, so I don't think we're gonna lose every communication to seniors, Bob, I think, but we are gonna gain some money that maybe we can do something better with,
Change it to God, I know it's
Yeah.
probably it's a change.
Yeah,
The only thing I see is that the Powder House News is the one
They still calling it that?
thing that the town has that goes to all senior households.
But now it's
This
gonna
new
be.
one will as well. The other part of the question is, have there been town boards, committee, commissions, official ones who've wanted to put stuff in and been denied in the Powder House News?
No one's ever been denied, but I think the reality is too, is it's just, you know, if we're getting to the point now where like the library's trying to do more, we're trying to do more. If, you know, Kristen, you know, is trying to get more active and trying to be more vocal with the town as well. So it's like, there's 3 departments right there. You know, like I said, like whenever Board of Assessors and Treasurers have had info coming up about taxes, we've put their stuff in. If we've had anything with Board of Health related to like a flu clinic or with like transfer station stuff or things like that, we put it in there. So it's like, there is an ongoing need there. Yes, now like the shift between month to month, yeah, like, you know, COA may need something one month and not the next month, and vice versa with other departments. But I think if you know that there's one centralized location, and again, this is now gonna go out town-wide, that may also help all the causes out too, because then hopefully more people are gonna be more aware of it.
So this isn't just for seniors, this is for everybody in town.
Yeah,
And we're saving money. I don't think so, but anyway, because there's a lot more postage.
well,
But
we won't be
that's the
mailing
thing
it to
about-
everybody in town, though.
it's not gonna get mailed out to everybody. That's the
Yeah.
whole thing. They're trying to hone in how many to be printed and how many to be mailed out. So that would save.
All right. Item A under 6, Powder House News, is topics for next issue. If anybody has any, give a shout. Other business.
We got a while to go. Yeah, so, just 2 things under other business, just general like overview for the projects. So like I had mentioned, digital literacy, that interim report is in. I have been attending every single class. I've taught 3 over the last couple months. They've been good. We've been getting some positive feedback for that. I just redid my Shine certification, so that's done. I'm gonna be working on some ADA stuff too, coming up in the next month or so.
Do some what? I'm sorry.
ADA.
Video.
That's the social services director. I think I've spoken with you earlier about if you could give us sort of a thumbnail of what your COA activities are in a typical week.
I mean, the thing is that a lot of things just blend together because most of my calls are from seniors, but the needs that they have fall under both. So for example, like if we have somebody talking about like having, you know, questions about like insurance, or they're having questions about like benefits, it technically falls under both. Because yes, it is a senior, but that is also a public or social service. I had a meeting, you know, if people are having any questions about like needing more like imminent help, like trying to help like with any kind of like food insecurity or electric water insecurity, things like that, I try to work with them to try to get that service restored and make sure that they keep their benefits that way. It's, as of right now, I mean, unlike every other department, my job really is like, if people call me, I kind of help respond. I haven't been able to do as much of the proactive work as I've wanted to. It's all pretty much reactive. If I get in touch with another department about something, and the departments are all very good about letting me know, hey, we've heard about this situation, can you look into this for us? Or hey, so-and-so came in and they had a general question about this, can you call them back? I will stop what I'm doing and I will do that. You know, like I said, some of the day-to-day stuff is really, you know, like van, though for the month of May, that's not gonna be a thing, but the classes, making sure that, you know, working on budget, things like that. So that's kind of like the best answer I could kind of give you at the moment. In general, I'm also working with 2 coalitions. I'm with the Joint Coalition on Health and with the Central Mass Suicide Prevention Coalition. We meet monthly and we talk about just some general trends that we're seeing as well. And then Kristen wants to meet with me and the chiefs and Paul McKelk about the opioid settlement money and what can we be doing for that. Social services is going to be having a webinar at the end of May talking about depression and just family stress. And it's going to be info for not only for teens, but for parents as well. So that will be being pushed out to the masses as well. Victoria and I at the library were looking into collaboration with a couple of projects coming up, one of which is where we had somebody actually request some photography classes, and we were looking around and no one in the area is really offering them. So we're looking to see if that's something that we can jumpstart as well.
Anybody, questions, comments? Additions? Yeah,
Those are-
when else, when anybody is
A few projects.
referenced,
That's the big one right now.
The big one.
when anybody has indicated that they've called the COA office for help, they've always said that you have been quickly responsive and helpful on that, so that's appreciated. Okay, guys. I can't reach in here and stick a gold star on your forehead, but
It's
that
all-
was-
I'll do it for you, Bob. I'll take
all
care of
right,
it. All right.
that's good.
The only other thing I had under other business was that, so Victoria and the library are applying for a grant for a Smithsonian display, that could be potentially, put on display. I don't know all the fine details about it. But what for the grant itself, she needs to basically list a couple different places in the town in which it could potentially be on display for the public during about a 6-week period of time. She has asked if she could put down our COA room as a secondary option.
Shall we take a vote on that?
How much space does it take up? Would it interfere with yoga or Tai Chi?
So that was her question. I think that if for any reason the space were to be needed, I can talk to Kristen and for us to relocate Tai Chi and yoga temporarily upstairs for that time. Because yoga happens on Saturday mornings, so literally no one else is here in the building. And then Tai Chi would be Tuesdays at 1, and there's no boards or committees that meet at that time. So we have 2 meeting rooms upstairs we could rearrange temporarily for those classes.
And there's nothing else that goes on broad base there, right?
I mean, my COA office is down here, but again, like if I needed to relocate to the social services office, that shouldn't be an issue.
And all the new furnishings and upholstery and paintings on the walls and all that stuff won't be in the way?
The lovely new curtains.
Yeah, all that stuff. Is that going anywhere? Anybody made suggestions or offering donations?
No, I did get a quote. So I did talk to Ken. He's our new facilities helper for the building. And with the size, of the blinds that we would need, even just looking on Amazon, you're looking at $800 to $1,000.
It would be expensive, yeah.
Because they're huge windows and you need 5.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking, okay, blinds, yeah. But no, there's been nothing on furniture, there's been nothing on
No,
interesting stuff for the walls?
no.
Okay, I'm gonna get my watercolors ready. Just expect somebody to sneak in at night. All right, anybody got anything else?
What did you guys think about the library stuff?
Just the display?
Did you guys have any objections? I told Victoria I didn't think anybody would, but I just told her that I was gonna bring it up at today's meeting.
It doesn't inconvenience you and
Yeah,
there's
you have no
a-
objection. I would say no objection.
And it's temporary. It's a 6-week period of time.
Mm,
It's not permanent.
and maybe, it could get a little publicity if people are going down there to see it for the COA. Of course, it's depressing in the COA. I'm sorry for you and your office area, the room itself, but if we can maybe post some things, yoga and Tai Chi and stuff, maybe it would drive more people to the area.
Maybe that photography class you could
Yeah.
have some.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking actually.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have weekly grab and goes down there. That would draw a lot of
Weekly.
people. Weekly,
You
Good.
funding that, Bill?
Are we
Very
cooking?
weak.
Is that what that means?
exactly. That's it. We need to get cooking. That's what happens. All right. I think that's it from my perspective. Who else has any suggestions, questions? But, we're still short a person on the COA board.
Mhm.
Please put your thinking caps on and consider people you know in town.
Yep.
I suppose they could be from New York City for that matter, but it'd be
We've
nice
got
to have.
another, we've got another blurb in this powder house too, asking.
Yeah.
me to
One
do
or just one?
One, yep.
Good. Okul dokul. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right, Karen Schultz,
Aye.
Lori Fairbay,
Aye.
Linda Robinson,
Aye.
Kate Bliss,
Aye.
Bob Blair, aye. Unanimously, the next meeting is Tuesday, May 28th at 4 p.m.